All right, there's my audience. Except for, there we go. I have here in this box a gun. The gun is a pretty simple tool that's been around for hundreds of years, and it stirs up very many different emotions in different people. For some people, it's a symbol of murder or hate or fear, things like that. And for many people, it is simply used for defense, protection, and a symbol of freedom. No matter how you feel about the gun, we do live in a culture that has a lot of guns. In the United States, there's the most registered guns of anywhere else in the world, and there's about 9 guns for every 10 people total, which is a lot of guns. So the relevance of the gun in our culture makes it a very important thing for us to talk about, which is why today I would like to tell you about some general gun crime statistics in the United States, then gun violence and gun crime statistics in Brazil, and gun crime statistics in Switzerland. So the first thing, United States gun statistics, is the concealed carry. So concealed carry is exactly how it sounds. You have a gun and you conceal it on your hip, on your back, something like that. People can't see it. And in the 90s, when crime was peaking, sort of at its peak, a lot of different states started instituting these concealed carry permits for people so that they could have them. And during this time, murder fell by 8% and rape fell about right around 5%. And in Florida, a similar thing is happening. From 2007 to 2011, firearm violence has fallen by 33%, and concealed carry permits have gone up by 90% in just that 4-year period. Another common misconception is that guns aren't commonly used for self-defense. In America, the gun is used about the same amount for self-defense as it is used by criminals. Very close. It's used by criminals a little more, but it's about the same amount. And when a gun is used by a gun crime victim, his chance of injury is a lot less, and the injuries that he gets are a lot less statistically. So my second point is Brazil gun laws and just their gun culture. They have very strict gun laws. Unless you're a policeman in the army or SWAT or anything like that, it's very hard to buy a gun, almost impossible to carry one. And yet they have the highest homicide rate in the entire world at 21.8 compared to the United States, which is 3.6. That's per 100,000. So 21.8 murders per 100,000 deaths. 21.8 of them are done by a gun murders, which is very high. Like I said, the highest in the world. And this could be attributed to the fact that there's barely any guns there. There's a lot of guns. There's 9 million guns in Brazil, but the citizens don't have these guns. It's criminals who have the guns because they're the ones who are able to break the law and get their hands on the guns, things like that. My third point would be Switzerland. They have a very high number of guns, fourth highest number of registered guns at so number 1 being the United States, number 2 being Yemen. I can't remember number 3, but number 4 is Switzerland. And they potentially could be number 1 because gun registration isn't much of a thing in Switzerland. And they have a compulsory militia. So when you turn about 19 or 20, you have to join the militia, and you're given a gun to take home with you. So they have a gun in about every single household. Yet Switzerland has a very low gun crime rate, about 0.04 out of every 100,000. So you've got the 21.8 in Brazil, 3.6 in America, and 0.04 per 100,000 in Switzerland. Very, very low. And the reason that this is, in my opinion, is that they have a lot of training. These people are given a gun at around age 19 or 20, every male. They're trained on how to use it for defense. And we're talking assault rifles. These are military-grade weapons that they're given, and they're able to take home into their household. So if you were a criminal, if I was a criminal, I wouldn't want to go to Switzerland and do crimes because I know that if I bust in someone's house, not only do they have an assault rifle, they have a sidearm probably on them, and they're trained knowing how to use it. So think if you want to do a mass shooting, whatever, you're going to think about the fact that within a matter of seconds, somebody who's trained for these situations is going to have a handgun on them because that's how Switzerland's militia works. It's a very powerful system, and they have a lot of guns, and yet they're very safe, and I think that says a lot for itself. So to recap, we talked about some general United States crime statistics, such as how concealed carry is related to lower levels of violence and crime, and how guns are often used for defense. We talked about Brazil, how they have a very high amount of violence and a very low or very strict gun laws. And then you have Switzerland, which you've got a lot of guns, you've got a lot of safety, and the people in Switzerland have a very high pride in their guns, and they feel very safe there because they know they're armed, they know that they can protect themselves. Lastly, I would just like to add that no matter how you feel about guns, it's always important to practice gun safety. Always make sure if you're handling a firearm that it's unloaded, that you keep a trigger lock on it, or you keep it in a lock safe, something like that. All right, thank you.